we are in. Yes. So welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming. It's another episode of the Giant Markets. Thank you for coming in, for tuning in. It's legendary today. We thank God for the gift of life. We're here again to teach you more about the markets. We're here to enjoy the goodness of what is actually happening within the market. So I thank you for coming in today, for tuning in. So on this episode today, I wanna talk more and emphasize more about the technical and the fundamental things that are happening in the market. So like I always say, as you have tuned in, I've always said that the markets, whether you're doing forex, whether you're doing the stock exchange, whether you're doing the CFDs, there are two things that always drive the markets. It's the fundamentals and it's the technical. So you need to be well versed in these two things. So we'll start with the technical, because the technical, it's the price movement, it's the price action of the market. When someone opens the platform, whether it's a MetaTrader 4, it's a MetaTrader 5, what you have to know is that the technicals is the price, it's what makes the market move. So one of the causes of that, when you open the platforms, is you always find a MetaTrader. In a MetaTrader 5, you always find the candlesticks or the line chart or the bar chart, but most people love to use the candlesticks. So we want to emphasize more on the candlesticks. Then the fundamentals is the news. The market sometimes make drastic movement, which we say it's volatile, and one of the causes of that, it can be news. When you just open the market and you see candles going up and down, unnoticeable or unrealizable of what is actually happening, most of the time it can be caused by the news. So today I want to talk about a candlestick which is called the long white candlestick plus the doji. So these are two candlesticks that are mixed, and they will come up with a story that they actually tell. So what we have to know about this long white candlestick is that it's a combination of two candlesticks, which is the Mariposa and the doji. I talked about the doji in the fourth episode, and I talked about the Mariposa in the third episode. So you need to go and check it out. Go and check these two out, these two episodes. That's where I explained a lot about these two candlesticks. So that I may jog up your memory, what you have to know about this candlestick. So I'll start with the Mariposa. So it is a white Mariposa, and it's one of those candlesticks that does not have upper or lower shadow, and the high and the low are represented by the open and the close. So as you are seeing it, the Mariposa, it's one very important candlestick, and it's long. That's why when we're talking about the long white candlestick plus the doji, it's a long candlestick with a very big body. It has a big body, but it doesn't have wings or shadow. Whether you want a long or a short, it can be short or no wings or shadow. So the other thing about this white Mariposa, because what you have to understand about this white Mariposa is that it is bullish, and it forms when open equals low and close equals high. So you have the open on your top and you have the close on your bottom. So what you have to know is that they are separated because it opens on top as it is long. So when it gets to have that, it gets to have the open and the close they are separated differently because of what will be happening in the market. So this indicates that buyers control the price action from the first trade to the last. So what you have to know is that whenever you see a mariposa, it's one of the candlesticks that is solid, and it shows you that the buyers are in charge of the market at that time. So that's why when it starts down in the low going up, that's where the open is, and it goes further to finish on top, that's where the close. Then there is another candle that can come up after that, because that's where the opening and the close takes place. Then the doji, then there is the other one that actually happens, which is also called the doji. So there are two, they follow each other. But what you have to know about the mariposa at the same time is that this indicates that the buyers control the price action from the first trade into the last. It's very important to know this. So the buyers are in control. But whenever you see a doji coming in, these are the characteristics again of a doji. It forms when a securities open and close are visually equal. So a doji is one of those candlesticks that has the upper wicks and the lower wicks. It depends. They can be big, okay, they can be small, but the opening and the close, they are close to each other. There's no difference. Because why it's like that? Because the length of the upper and the lower shadows can vary, with the resulting candlestick looking like a cross, inverted cross or plus sign. So a doji can be a plus sign. Most of the time it can be a plus sign or an inverted cross, which is a stick and that a vertical and a diagonal a size that will be happening, but it depends with the size, like you can see. So a doji is a neutral pattern. It is neutral on the fact that the opening and the close didn't change. You can't differentiate and say, okay, fine, they started here and they finished here, like whether they opened here and they closed here. No, everything is just there in one place. So a combination of a mariposa and a doji results in what we call white candle plus doji. So because of this thing, of these two candlesticks, that's why we come up with a conclusion of what we call a white candlestick, a long white candlestick plus a doji. So this means that after an advance or a long white candlestick, a doji signals that buyer's pressure may be coming to an end. We always see this when you open the markets, where after seeing a mariposa, then you see the next candlestick is also important, because it will tell you of the direction of the market. So whenever you see a doji after a big mariposa candlestick, know that the buyers are no longer in charge of the markets. Now the market can change anytime. There's a shift that is about to happen. And the other next candle after the doji is also important, because it verifies whether it may be a decline. The decline may happen soon, because from the lack of buyers and continued buying pressure is required to sustain or an uptrend. So you have to, that's when it tells you that, okay, fine, maybe this uptrend, the candlestick after the doji, it can even tell you that the buyers are still there to sustain the price to go up, or the buyers are now weak enough to allow the sellers to take the price down. So after a long white candlestick and doji, traders should be on alert for a potential evening doji star. So there is another doji that happens, which is called the evening doji star, which take the price down. So that's why we need this one. We need this long white candlestick to have a proper understanding, plus a doji, because it's one of those important candlesticks that gives us direction of what is actually happening in the market. So we know the markets are volatile and the markets are very quick, but anyone who has a clear understanding of the markets already knows what will happen at that moment. So that's it for today about this segment of talking about the market, the candlesticks, the technical side. So let's continue and go to the fundamentals. Right, so on our next segment today, we have introduced this segment, so we are talking about the economy of the countries. So on today, we want to talk about the economy of Zambia, the country of Zambia. So the president of Zambia is called Hakainde Hichilema. Yeah, he's a 64-year-old man, and he is the president since 2021. So he's one guy who came into office in the days of Corona and would be the president for the next coming 5 years. So yeah, he's a businessman. And he's a farmer. Yeah. So, and he's the president. So the economy is expected to grow by 4.2% in 2023 from a 3% growth in 2022. So he is one of the what you have to know about Zambia is that Zambia is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. And last year in 2022, there was a period in time when the economy of Zambia had to grow so much. Even when you were having $1, it became stronger than the rand. So that's how big the economy of Zambia had to grow. And it is a developing country. And what you have to know is that they use the kwacha as their currency. So the currency of Zambia grows so much in 2022. That's why it's expected even in 2023 to 2024 for the economy to grow by 4.2%, which is a good thing from what is actually happening in Zambia. So the inflation is about 12.5%, and it's a very good inflation from where Zambia came from. Because Zambia, they come from that period of having money in wheelbarrows and everything, and now everything is growing and is going accordingly. So the main base for the economic growth is copper belt, which is 64%. They have gold, they have tobacco, they supply electricity to other countries, they have tobacco. So all those things, they supply them. And you know, copper belt is one of the biggest minerals that are planted in our generations, because European countries, they use that copper belt to create batteries. So these batteries, especially these cars like Tesla cars, where they don't use fuel but they use electricity. Most of these cars, they use that battery, so it's on demand, and Zambia has it. So it's one of those things that are bringing foreign currency to the country, and it's making the country to grow. It is regarded as one of the top best countries in terms of ease of doing business in Africa. It's on the top 5 list, because they allow people to go and invest. They allow everyone who wants to invest to come to the country. So it's a free country for anyone who wants to go and invest. So Zambia is as the government succeeded in reducing the cost of doing business, like restricting on trade, and government and judicial integration have deteriorated. So the government is one of those the friendly government that allows everyone to come. They don't have a lot of tariffs, they don't have a lot of restrictions and everything. So, but it's clear on where they are going because of the president. The president, remember, he's a businessman, so he knows what is needed for the people of Zambia to invest in it. So it's a country that imports a lot that's why the economy is growing. So they import things a lot, and they export a lot to other countries. So it has developed to be one of the good countries in the economy at the moment. So we should look up for Zambia. We should look at, we should look for it, because it's going on the right direction, and we should even invest in it, because they have everything. They allow anyone to come and invest in that country. So what you have to know is that as Zambia is using kwacha, $1 is equivalent to 19 kwacha 26 at the present moment. So yeah, which means the kwacha has gained strength, and it's almost par with the rand. It's not very far from the rand, and it's just one of those days where today the rand is strong, tomorrow the kwacha is strong. So that's how good the kwacha is. So yeah, that's it for this segment. So now I want to talk about the business news. So on the business side, the things that have been happening all over the world is that Jerome Powell, the guys who are behind the Fed in America, which is the Federal Reserve Bank, they increased the interest rates by 0.25 basis points. That's 25. That's 0.25. That's a quarter of a percent. That's 1/4%. So they to increase the interest rates by that. So you know, whenever the interest rates are increased, it brings volatility to the US dollar currencies, especially those, you see those currencies, you see those currencies that the US trade with a lot, like the euro, the US dollar, the Japanese yen and others. And it even brings volatility to gold, to Nasdaq, to S&P 500, you know. So yeah, so whenever we always track like what is actually happening in America, because it affects the market a lot, especially people who like trading those things. So now the interest rates have been increased, but they are saying that in the second quarter of the year, it's predicted that there won't be any reason of increasing increasing these interest rates, because the previous hikes had to catch up now with what is actually happening, because already now it's now at 5% for the interest rate in such a country. So you know, they don't want to make the interest rate to be very big in that country. So they don't want to make that those interest rates to be very big. That's why they are what they are saying. They don't want to increase them a lot, but we don't know what can happen in the next quarter of business. So if things get very tight, they can even extend the interest rates again. So yeah, so that was the important thing that happened during this week. And the other thing that happened is that ad spending slowed down in 2023 in terms of these companies like the Meta company. So you know, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, they to come together to be one company, which is called the Meta. So they had to these companies, they say the ad spending slowed down in the beginning of 2023 now. So what's the cause? Because what they're actually saying, the statistics they're saying, in 2022 ad spending increased by 7.5%. So what you have to know about ad spending, let me tell you this one. This one is very important. This is the important news that you have to know. Right. So what you have to know about ad spending is that these companies, especially the Meta, Facebook, they make money through ad spending. So how do they make money? When people are advertising whatever product, whatever they want to advertise in these companies, they put money to those companies so that they increase their logarithms, and people get to know what you're actually doing. They make you known to the whole world. So why they are doing that is how they make money. So these guys, they restrict their logarithms and the way and the people who have to watch your product, because when they want you to put money, when you put money, that's where they allow you to be known all over the world. So a lot of people put money there. That's how these companies, they make money. So you know, like the problems that are happening in the present moment, a lot of companies, they have to cut down costs of advertising. So when they cut down cost of advertising, which means they also cut down costs of giving companies like Google, like Facebook, like Twitter, you understand, all those companies. So they are saying in this first quarter, the ad spending had to be reduced by 3.5%. So we don't know what will happen as the year goes by, but it's like people are cutting down their cost. So maybe Facebook, you know, it makes a lot of profits to these things through their ad spending. As the earnings, they came out of Facebook also, and the earnings were not as good as they were expecting. But so that's why they will have to come up with the other ways of improving their companies. So that's it for Facebook. And on the other thing, let's go on the other one. The other one is that Google develops AI tool that transforms text enhance into a real music. You know, there's this thing that is actually happening, the AI, the chat GPT, which has entered into the market and is going to be the next big technological thing. So a lot of companies, especially Google is the one company that is going hard on this one, is going by all means, and is making sure that we want to be the best in terms of AI. Like I talked on the previous episode about this AI thing, is that Google has put they put 10 billion on the chat GTP. So what now they want to do, this chat GTP, they want to put a button whereby even if you want to do music, the chat GP will write lyrics for you so that you can make music. So that's the level of this world that we're going at the present moment. So we need to invest on these things. We need to have knowledge of these things before it gets to be big. Like Facebook, they started small, and people who invested on these things when they're starting, today they are very rich, they have billions in their accounts. So the other thing that you have to know is that Baidu has formed and has followed AI footstep, and he has created a button for chat GPT also. Baidu is a Chinese company, and it's a different Google. It's Google but in a Chinese way. So that's the easiest way I can make you explain it to you, that Baidu is a Chinese Google. So you know, Chinese has a big population. So they've discovered and say, no, as we are going with this chat GPT thing, they've created also a chat GPT button for them so that people will pay. They will make a lot of money. You know, Chinese have more than billions of people, so they will make a lot of money through this thing. So the button will allow users to have conversations with it. So you can, that button, it will make you to whatever the people they want, they will chat with it. Because you know, this chat GPT, it will help people to write their assignment, it will help people to write music. It's going to be chaotic, and then there will be, I think this thing over time, it will reduce this thing of research, because ChatGPT will help you to research for yourself. It will research for you and give you everything that you want. So instead of typing, it will allow you to send the AI, then it will tell you the answers. So there will be no need to typing. People will be just speaking with the Baidu, or they will be speaking with the Google. Then it just give them all the answers. So it's going to be an interesting world that we're going into. Yeah. So which people search is restricted in China. As you know that in China, like the people searching in China is restricted, like what is happening in America or in other worlds. Like for example, in Africa, here there is freedom of searching whatever you want to do. But with Baidu is restricted. There are certain things that you are not allowed to search. You won't find them. It's not there. That's how China works. And you know, China, they don't back down. They have their own rules and regulations that they follow, and they don't back down on that. So the other thing that actually happened in this week is that big oil companies, they had to smash record profits, like the companies like Exxon, the companies like Shell, the companies like BP, Chevron, Total Engine. So the earnings, they came out for these companies. So they make 30 billion, like 2 times the profit that they did on the previous. So the cause is that because of the demand, there was serious demand of fuel because of the Russia invasion of Ukraine. So as you know, that Russia is one country that was supplying the whole world with fuel. So now that is no longer happening. These companies, they had to take advantage of that. Then they had to supply a lot of countries and a lot of countries. So that's what makes them to be big in last year. So even this year, they're going to continue making a lot of profits because they are the only companies that are already there at the present moment. So so it's an opportunity to invest in these oil companies. So what do you have to know about Nasdaq? When the week was ending on Friday, Nasdaq, it opened the day on 12,408.1, then it closed at 12,300. So right now we're talking about the Nasdaq and other stocks that happened. So there was a decline in Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones also opened at 33,726. Then it closed at 33,863, which was a gain for Dow Jones. The S&P 500 opened at 4,086. It closed at 4,090, which was a gain. So the only thing that had a loss on that day, it was Nasdaq, because the S&P 500 went up. The Dow Jones, it went up, but Nasdaq was the only one. But these three, they correlate each other, like they follow each other. So what could be happening with the S&P, could be happening with the Dow, it could happen with the Nasdaq. But on this day, there was only one that went on a different way. So then there was gold. Gold opened at 18,601.89. Then it closed at it opened at 1,861.89. Then it closed at 1,864.58, which was also a gain for gold. You know, gold is traded a lot by people who are in Africa. In Africa, there's too much gold, and that's the thing that people believe a lot. And it's one of those, gold is important because when people want to run away, when there are problems that are happening, they invest a lot in gold. So that's it for the news for today. On this segment, we are going to learning the dialect. So on learning the dialect, what we want to talk about today, which is learning the lingo, is that as a giant, you have to have an understanding of what learning the of the lingo of the markets, of what is actually happening in the markets. So this one is also important, but I want to remove my head because it's not as important as the things that are happening. But as a giant, you need to also, as you can see my hair, as a giant, you need to also understand the words, because the words are important. The words, they shape your perspective of seeing the markets. Because when we were starting this thing, all of us, it was jargon. We didn't understand what was happening until we had to study the markets. So today I want to talk about this term called market cap, which is also known as market capitalization. So this is the definition of market capitalization: the total value of a publicly traded company's outstanding common shares owned by stakeholders. So in other words, market capitalization is equal to the market price per common share multiplied by the number of common shares outstanding. So I've read everything. I know it doesn't make sense to you, but let me explain it in simple terms. Market cap is the number of share. Let's say one share cost $3, but there are 1 billion shares in that company. So which means market cap is just the multiplication of the total number of share multiplied. You multiply the total number of the share by the price of one share. So which means it will be $3 by 1 billion, which is 3 billion. That's market share, and we're done with that for the day. So let's go over to the next segment, which is called you need to be influenced as anyone who wants to do something new, especially the markets. I think in Africa everyone needs to learn how to trade, to learn how to understand the markets, because it will simplify of the problems that we have in Africa. So I want to inspire you today by saying the difference between an amateur and a professional is their habits. Because you know, when you are starting this thing, everyone starts as an amateur. But how do you differentiate between an amateur and a professional? So here is the difference. The difference in it is in the habits of what these two people do. So an amateur has amateur habits, a professional has professional habits. We can never free ourselves from habits, but we can replace bad habits with good habits. This is Stephen Pressfield who talked this quote, and I love this quote because actually it talks with everyone. It relates with anyone who want to start the market, because there are certain habits. When people are starting something new, they will be like, I don't understand this. Oh, this thing is very difficult. But no, that's how we all started. It needs you to change from the bad habits to going to the next level, which is called the good habits. So how do you get to that level? You have to take it day by day and learn one thing. Learn a new word from business side. Learn something new. Learn a candlestick. Try to understand the candlestick before going into the markets and saying, I want to make money. Do that. Then that's how you'll make money, because you'll be knowing what you're actually doing. You can't make money without knowing what you're actually doing, but you have to first know what you are doing. Then money will follow you after having proper knowledge. So yeah, that's it for today. We thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and continue supporting and also comment, so that we grow and we spread this community to be known in everywhere. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Daloboshe signing out.